All right, fantastic. And here we are on Thursday, September 30th at 1 p.m. to talk about even more details of that CVC-OEI course design rubric. It's wonderful to be here with you all. If you have not yet done so, please be sure to sign into the chat, and I will be sure to retain those records for Flex credit. Today, I'm going to begin by doing a couple of things. First and foremost, I will share my PowerPoint slides in the chat so you can follow along. You can retain it for your records. Here we go. Anyone with link? Right in the chat for you. And just to be clear, this is technically our third workshop in this series. I've actually been just adding more slides to the same PowerPoint week after week after week. That just seems easier for all of us. Instead of having 5 presentations floating around, now we just have one with all of this content in it. So it's in there in the chat for you. Do with it what you like. You're welcome to follow along. And yeah, absolutely. I want to welcome you back. I see some folks who've been coming to these from the start. I appreciate it. I see some new faces in the room. I appreciate that too. So let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Michael. Hi. I am the online education faculty coordinator, and I also teach anthropology. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to reshare my screen. And we will talk about, here we go, the CVC-OEI course design rubric section B regarding interaction in our online classes. Before we jump into the content here, as usual, just a few items of housekeeping. First of all, you are welcome to ask questions, participate throughout the next hour-long workshop. You may use the raise hand function. I'll get an alert that someone rose their hand. You can also utilize the chat, or if you're more comfortable, you can simply unmute and ask your question that way. That is absolutely fine. I want you to feel comfortable however you like to communicate. I do politely request, unless you have something to share, do try and keep yourself muted so that any background noise isn't a distraction to others in the room. Also, if for any reason I happen to have a computer issue and my Zoom freezes, please give me about 3 minutes to return to this room and we'll pick up right where we left off. So far, I believe everything has been going a-okay. So fingers crossed it will continue to be okay. And then, of course, let's see, I already shared I'm just going through my housekeeping list, and I shared the PowerPoint. Excellent. And then just one final note. One of the reasons why I'm offering these workshops every single week is so that we can continue to facilitate, we can continue to encourage the idea that online learning and face-to-face learning can be equals. And it's not, this idea that online learning, it's just this temporary thing for the pandemic and it is inferior to on-ground learning. Rather, I want to really advocate, for the case that online learning is truly rich and fulfilling and serves many, many, many of our students. So just putting that out there in the universe. Thank you very much for being here to share with me in making our online courses even better for our students. All right. So with that being said, I see a few folks wonderful signing in. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get to it. Today, oops, that's strange. Let me go back. That's better. Today, we have a handful of objectives. First and foremost, we're going to do a brief recap of what the rubric is. I know we have a lot of folks in this room right now who've been with me since the beginning, so very quick review, but maybe this is your first time dropping in on this workshop series, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Next, we're going to recap Title V from Ed Code regarding regular and effective contact. And then we will outline the 6 elements of Rubric Section B, interaction. After that, we'll review and evaluate examples that demonstrate what aligned courses can look like, followed by a share and discussion how our online courses employ elements of Section B. And then lastly, I encourage you to develop priorities for yourself in relation to Section B of the rubric. Again, we have a lot to do, but I hope that by the end of this workshop, we will have some time for a little bit more sharing and also some Q&A, some questions as those come up. I'd be more than happy to take those. And just to reiterate, I mentioned this last time as well, I 100% support the practice of calling in the criteria of the rubric and reevaluating the rubric itself. However, that is not our intention or purpose today. I am open to creating spaces for that sort of critique, but today we want to look at the rubric as is and think about how we can align our courses with it. So just putting that forward as we commence with our day. So that rubric, let's recap it. The California Virtual Campus Online Education Initiative, aka CVC-OEI, provides best practices for online instruction. We know this already. Last week, we talked all about Section A. There were 14 parts of Section A. It was a busy Thursday afternoon, if any of you all were there. Today, we're talking about Section B, interaction, and there are only 6 elements in that section. Now, that doesn't mean it's not an important section. It's absolutely important, but there's a different focus, namely instructor-initiated and student-initiated communication. So those are the overarching themes that we're going to talk about in this presentation. So this brings up a portion of Ed Code known as Title V that deals with instructor contact. And I'm not going to read every single bit of this to you, but just to summarize, this policy is not new. It was developed well before the pandemic for online learning and distance education courses. But this policy talks about the importance of frequent and effective and substantive communication between instructor and students, and also among student peers when they are in online courses, whether it is synchronous or asynchronous, whether it is Canvas or primarily on Zoom, doesn't matter. Ed Code mandates that we ensure regular and effective contact. This is not optional, right? This is part of Ed Code. So the good news is Canvas offers many, many different tools to make this contact and communication not just convenient and easy, but also truly impactful in checking in with our students and students reaching out to us and each other if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. So keep that in mind. This is policy. So the 6 elements of Section B. It's largely broken down into 2 main sections. The first area, interaction, instructor contact. B1, B2, and B3 all address communication between us, the professors, and then the students. The second portion of Section B, student-to-student contact, all of those 3 areas, B4, B5, and B6, they all talk about students being able to engage with one another in the online space. And again, this might be on Canvas, this might be on Zoom, maybe even in a Zoom chat. So it depends on your modality, synchronous or asynchronous, or maybe a blend of those things. As you'll recall, the rubric identifies 3 different rankings for courses under evaluation. And the first one, incomplete, as we represent with that flexing bicep, because it just means you have more work to do to reach alignment with that particular idea. And then, of course, aligned is meeting the standard, while the final exemplary is exceeding the standard on how you do these particular things within your online course. So let's get to it. I want to visit the CVC-OEI course design rubric and get a little bit more detail on these different elements of section B. So I'm going to put that down, switch over here, and also drop this in the chat. If you care to follow along, you are more than welcome to. All right. So we know this document by now. I hope you have it saved, either bookmarked or downloaded. I'm just going to skip all the way past section A. We did that last time. It was a good day. And here we are, section B, Instructor Contact. Again, here are the 3 different categories: so incomplete, aligned, and exemplary. And starting with Instructor Contact, B1, pre-course contact. So an aligned course would involve us, the instructors, initiating contact with students prior to or at the beginning of a course. And that can look a little different depending on the term length, whether it's a 16-week or a 5-week or summer or winter, what have you. But this rubric identifies we really need to reach out either before the course begins or right when it begins, so the students know what to do. Okay. An incomplete rating on this means that the instructor doesn't reach out at all, and that students are just expected to log into Canvas, click on the course without any direction to do so. Section B2, or excuse me, criteria B2, regular effective contact. That's getting back to the Title V standard we were just looking at a moment ago. So an aligned course would show the course design includes regular instructor-initiated contact with students using CMS communication tools. You might remember from last time, CMS stands for Course Management System. Ours is Canvas. So an aligned course with section B2 is when an instructor uses different Canvas tools to communicate with their students. And then thirdly, we have B3, student-initiated contact. That is when students are able to and encouraged to initiate contact with their instructor. That is including expected response times. So you might say something to the effect of, I will respond to your email within 24 to 48 hours when you reach out to me. Something along those lines. That's actually really important for online communication, so students know what to do if they need to follow up. And then that brings us down to the bottom half of section B, student-to-student contact, B4, B5, and B6. B4 talks about student-initiated contact with other students. This includes opportunities for student-initiated contact being available and encouraged. So we'll talk about some different ways that we can encourage this to happen in our online courses. I have some examples for you. B5 talks about regular and effective contact among students. This usually comes down to the types of assignments that we offer and how students are asked to collaborate and discuss within them. So that might be a discussion forum, maybe a group project. It could even be seen as a breakout room activity within your Zoom session if you teach online through Zoom. And then finally, B6 addresses participation levels. An aligned course provides very clear guidelines on what sort of student participation is expected. So how often should they respond to a student? How should they respond to students, peers within the class? So, and that's it. That's section B. I know it's a lot smaller than what we talked about last time, and that's okay. It's very different though. So if I, here's my slideshow. So if I go back to our slide, I'll advance to the next one. Here we go. As I did last time, and as I'll continue to do next time, we have some resources that pertain to section B. They can be found in the online faculty learning and development Canvas shell in which you are all enrolled. If you're not enrolled, just let me know. I'll get you signed up in about 2 seconds. And then those of us who went through the Teach Online Seminar 3.0, you completed 2 deliverables related to section B. You wrote a communication plan and also an idea for a student communication hub within your class. And then, of course, the CVC-OEI provides some really, really helpful course design resources. In fact, I want to show you that last one just briefly. And I showed this last time too. I'm placing it in the chat. This one is definitely worth a bookmark. There you go. This is from the CVC-OEI, of course. And if you click on the nice Let's Go button, you get essentially a content page on each section of the rubric. So here's section B. We were just talking about pre-course contact. So here the CVC-OEI provides some reasoning why this is important, and also some tips on how you can do this. This is actually pretty cool. I like it. They have examples that you can just copy and paste, let's say into an email, and you just write in, fill in the information as appropriate. It's actually pretty handy. If you've never written one of these before, maybe this is a good starting point. Okay, it's something to go off of as you apply these skills into your class. And again, by clicking next at the bottom right of the page, you commence to section B2 of the rubric, regular and effective contacts. Again, why this is important, some tips and examples, so on and so forth. Okay, so there's a lot to think about here and a lot of good resources that you are welcome to straight up copy and paste into your class. All right. Back to the slides. And now I'm actually going to do a little jumping back and forth. Yeah, it's time to look at some examples. And gosh, it's only 1:20. This is good because we have time to go a little bit deeper with these examples. We also have time for you to share and learn from other folks besides me. Do keep in mind, I'm going to show you some examples from my current class. My way is just one way of doing things. I say this often in my workshops. You don't have to do things the way I do them. I just want to demonstrate one way that is possible. So let's begin. Let's think about section B, that first portion, instructor contact with students. And as I did in the previous workshop last week, as we go through these items, I invite you to a self-inquiry on these topics. And I pose a few questions. First of all, what resources do you provide students prior to or at the beginning of the course? Okay, we'll talk about that. I'll show you what I do. Secondly, what communication tools do you employ and how often do you use them? And then thirdly, how are students able and encouraged to contact you? Okay, so 3 fairly large things to think about. Let's jump onto campus and see what they can look like. Here we go. All right, great. So those of you who know me, I teach anthropology, and this is my current linguistic anthropology class. So I'm not going to do too much poking around, otherwise my students will get very confused. But I want to focus for a few minutes on B1, pre-course contact. Remember the standard for aligned courses, we contact students before or at the beginning of the course. So what does that look like for me? Well, for me, that primarily means 3 things. 1, I write a syllabus ahead of time. I think we all do that. We typically don't wait until after the first day of classes to create our syllabus. So that's the first thing. The second thing I do is I log into PeopleSoft and I get all of the email contact information for all of my students. And then I put those email addresses into an outgoing message through my email, as opposed to using Canvas, and I write a letter to my students. This is that letter that I wrote this semester. I think I can make it bigger. We have the technology. No, we don't. There we go, that's better. All right, so I welcome them to my class. I introduce myself. I clarify, we don't have required Zoom meetings. This is asynchronous. Sometimes I don't use that word, asynchronous. I just tell them we don't have to go on Zoom. I ask them to log into Canvas and participate on the first day of class, or you may be dropped and your spot will be given to someone else because I have a waiting list. This was sent, let's see, August 20th. So that was 9 days before the semester starts. I'm honest here. I'm still building our course, so it's not yet visible. And I tell them, you're able to start classwork on Monday, August 30th by logging in through the Viking portal. I put a link. I attach my syllabus to this email, include schedule, textbook, grading practices, resources. Once you've viewed it, feel free to contact me. I put my email, my phone number, and I wish you well. See you soon. So this goes out about a week and a half before my class even begins. And again, I understand that some faculty are unavailable during that time in intersession. So something like this could also very easily go out the morning of the class beginning. And that's in alignment with the rubric 2. Okay, it clarifies prior to or at the beginning of the course. Furthermore, since that email goes out a week and a half early before the semester, on the first day of class, I tend to do an announcement to the entire class, just letting them know class begins today. I put this out there. Again, some overlap with the previous message, but I also provide some technical help. Sometimes on that first day or that first week, I get students who are having issues with their password, for example. So I tell them where to go for help there. Okay. So that is one example of how we can align with B1, pre-course contact. And if you're going for exemplary, additional exemplary elements, think about multiple resources you can provide to help students successfully start the course. That might include, if you assign readings, send the readings and say, hey, you want to get started early? Go for it. If you want to buy the instructional materials, early, here's the list, right? Go ahead and do that. So those would be classified as additional exemplary. Moving on down, B2, regular and effective contact. Canvas makes this convenient for us. I made a list. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is off the top of my head earlier this morning, 9 different ways that we can reach out to our students with regular and effective contact. So let's see. And yes, I'm looking at the chat. Kyle, yes, that is blind carbon copy BCC on that letter so that students don't have each other's emails. Yep, absolutely. Great, great, great. Good question. Okay, so let me switch back to Canvas. And the first item for regular and effective contact, I just shared with you, announcements. I do, let's see, what are we, week 5, almost week 6, huh? And these are my announcements from this semester. Just the past 5 weeks, I do usually about 2 per week. For example, this announcement, welcome them to the first day. This announcement invites them to my office hour on Wednesday. This announcement reminds them that they have work due that same evening. So on and so forth, student reminder, anthropology club announcement, work due reminder, some encouragement, okay? So I use announcements frequently, a couple times a week to check in with how my students are doing and also just remind them of big things coming up, okay? Another thing to think about, I'll go home for this one, is using the grade book for reaching out to individual students, whether they are really excelling in your course or whether they might be struggling a bit in your course. Now, I'm actually recording, so for confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to show my student names. I'm actually going to switch over to a faculty training course that I facilitate just to demonstrate this skill with faculty names as opposed to student names. So in the grade book, just by clicking on grades in our Canvas navigation, and this is the 10-day accessibility challenge, wonderful course on accessibility if you're interested. Yes, I'm shamelessly advertising for my own course, but one of my favorite functions in the Canvas grade book is if you hover over an assignment, I'll make it larger, and click on these 3 vertical dots. See, they're there, they're gone, they're there, they're gone. Click on these 3 dots. We can message students who. Clicking on that reveals a couple of options. We can message students who have not submitted yet, or who scored less than a certain threshold. So I could put in, they scored less than a 7 out of 10. So they didn't pass. If I just want to email students who didn't pass. And I do that all the time. I email students all the time who haven't submitted. Say, hey, I noticed you didn't submit this assignment. Do you need a couple of extra days? Let me know your thoughts on that. And when I send that message, once I type something and click send, it's an individual email to each student on that list. So it's not this general announcement that everyone can see. It's private just to the individuals. So this is one of my favorite ways to reach out to students based on various conditions. Another way that I like, and this is within the speed grader. So if I am, let's see, I want to make sure I believe I hid the student names here. Yes, I did. Okay, so this is anonymous. Within the speed grader, when I'm grading students' work, I really like to leave comments down here. And again, this is a gradebook comment that provides direct feedback on their performance. That is another method of regular and effective contact. When students submit something, we respond with they did great, or they could do this better, or we want them to try it again, so on and so forth. And then, of course, let's not forget about our email. We can absolutely use email or the Canvas inbox to reach out to our students. I'll tell you, between those two, students typically reach out to their professors through the Canvas inbox. Professors often try and reach out to their students through email. So sometimes there's a disconnect in communication styles there. But it's worth offering both to your students and checking both to make sure that we are responsive when they need something. If you teach synchronously, let's not forget about our office hours or our student hours. That is a form of regular and effective contact, having ourselves available even a few minutes before and a few minutes after class. I know part-time faculty don't have to do office hours. Many do anyway, but you do not have to. But just a few minutes before or after a Zoom lesson is a wonderful opportunity for students to reach out to you. Maybe they're hesitant to do so amongst all of their peers in the classroom. All right, so just a few things to think about.
Excuse me, Michael, this is Kyle Muldrow.
Hi, Kyle. Yes.
Hi, just one quick thing. I put this in the chat, but okay, now I admit I haven't really used this much recently, but you mentioned you can put comments in the grades area, which I also use and is a great feature. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, there's also a video recording tool built into that. Yeah. And if you want to record a video explaining what's going on with a grade, that's another option. The only thing is when I first started using Canvas at a different school, that built-in Canvas recording tool didn't work that great. I mean, I haven't used it in a while, so perhaps they've improved it, but that's just an FYI.
No, I appreciate that, Kyle. Yes, in the speed grader, you can type right here, but you can attach a file, you can record a video, or you can record, or you can talk, and Canvas will type for you. Let's see how accurate that is. Mm-hmm. Really great work on these exercises. Keep doing what you're doing. That's pretty neat. So that's kind of fun too. But yeah, if you want to record a video or audio, you can use this media comment. And Kyle, you're right. It's okay. Mm-hmm. In terms of quality. Captions are an issue for these. So if you have a student, who needs the captions, I would advise using another method. I mean, even now it's kind of struggling to load.
Sounds like it looks like they haven't improved it that much since I first used it.
Yeah, I haven't used that, but twice in 5 years. Yeah,
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. Oh, Annalisa, I see your hands. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, Michael. I use the audio recording. So I tried the speech to text and I found that it's more work than help in terms of correcting the sentence structure and things like that. Yeah. But I find that students really like the personalized voice in terms of hearing feedback on a grade. I teach a lot of public speaking courses, so I'm able to really walk them through the structure, and I think it provides a lot of clarity for them. And so as yours is uploading, when it says upload media, you don't necessarily have to record your face, and you just click off no video and then start recording your voice and save it and send it. And I've found it really, really positive. A lot of great feedback from students. They love that.
That's wonderful. I could see 100%, Annalisa, how this works very well. Depending on your discipline.
Mhm.
You know, when you're teaching communication, right, it's important. Absolutely. So you can totally just use the mic. You
Mhm.
can choose
Yep,
a
I just hit no
video,
video.
no video there. Great. The one item that I encourage faculty to include when they do this is just a note in the comment section that says, if you would like this audio message transcribed, please let me know. And I say that because the closed captions in this media tool, they're insufficient, in my humble opinion. They could be a lot better, but just offering to transcribe it if a student needs it, I find can meet the needs if they arise. Yeah. No, these are great. It's good ideas. Thank you. And you get to see my students' homework. All right, so that brings us down to B3, student initiated contact. Students are encouraged to reach out to us. I know many of us in this Zoom today sometimes can beg our students to reach out to us, to reply to our messages, to let us know if they have questions. And that can be challenging in an online class. I absolutely hear that. What I try and do in alignment with the rubric here is provide multiple ways of contacting me and being very clear in my communication practices and expectations. These are most readily available, one, on my syllabus, but two, from the course homepage. Again, this is my homepage. Students scrolling all the way down, I've got my contact info right here. Oh yes, thank you. I'm so sorry I didn't enable the live captions. I could have sworn I pressed that button. Thank you for reminding me. They should be good to go now. So I put my email, my Google Voice, which is not my personal cell phone number. It is a Google phone number, but it still functions like a phone. Students can call me, students can text me, and it's actually very useful, I find. I've had students reach out to me on Instagram, on social media, because that's more comfortable for them. And honestly, I'm fine with that. So, you know, I provide multiple ways to get a hold of me. Even more detailed though, one of my navigation buttons from this homepage is Contact Me. So clicking on that opens up a page, an entire page dedicated to meeting your professor. There's me with some anthropology club students. And this includes my communication plan, right? So I will respond to you in 24 hours and first thing Monday for weekend emails. I tell them I will send out announcements to keep you up to date. I commit to grading their work within 72 hours of the due date. And I provide feedback. If I do not hear from you and your participation drops, I will reach out to you through email, phone, or text. And I'll tell you, I've emailed students, got nothing. But the minute I text message them, I get a response. Oh, sorry, professor, I've been sick. That's an old email address. I'll get right on it. So something about that form of communication can work very well. Yep. So having this communication plan clear, but also something that I'm willing to abide by, right? If I'm going to say, I'll get back to you in 24 hours, you better believe that I'm going to be checking my email every single day and committing time out of my day to respond to those questions or comments. You know, it can be very frustrating for our students if we say something like this and then don't get back to them for a week. So I recommend anywhere between 24 to 72 hours, but also do our best to abide by what we say we're going to do. So yeah, that's, I'll go back home. That is one way that we can align having multiple means of contacting us: email, Canvas inbox, text message, office phone number, whatever suits you. I know some faculty who've used social media a lot more than I do. Facebook, Twitter, even. I mean, those are very creative, right? That's a very interesting way to make that contact happen. But let's jump down to the other side of this equation, B4 through B6. B4, student-initiated contact with other students. This one, oops, that's the assignment. I'll close that. In my class, come on now, here we go, has a couple different variations. The first one is available on the homepage. It's my student wall. This is a Padlet, and what it is, it's just a discussion board. It's not worth any points or anything, but I just put it right here so that students can not just contact me, but when a student writes something here, by clicking the purple circle, everyone in class sees it. And they can also respond to one another right here from the home page. Okay, so that's actually pretty fun. Sometimes they'll just put random things like, I'm really hungry. And okay, great. Thank you for sharing that with the class. So it's an interesting way to utilize the home page. But I also offer a student discussion forum. And students can access that by clicking the Ask a Question button in my navigation. And Karen, I see your hand. I'll get right to you in just a moment. This is something I do in every class that I teach. Just a student discussion forum, no points here. I'm subscribed to it, so I know when someone posts, but I don't necessarily reply. You know, a student sometimes will post here and say, does anybody want to study? Or can anybody, let me borrow the textbook so I could scan it? All sorts of things that students in an on-campus classroom would be talking about anyway. So that's what this space is for. I also do remind them, this forum is public. If you want to reach out to an individual classmate, they can use the Canvas inbox to do so. And I provide a help guide on how to do that from the student perspective. I say, look, you click on inbox, you find your course, and you select this classmate that you would like to write a message to. Canvas does not share student personal emails, but students can use this inbox to communicate with each other privately. So just a lot of students don't know that. A lot of faculty don't know that. So it's something I might encourage you to remind them that, yeah, you can do that. Karen, yes, please. I'd love to take your question.
That was my question. Oh my gosh, you just answered it.
Oh, cool.
Because I was told, gosh, I want to say like maybe 2 years ago that you used to be able to have the students contact each other through Canvas, but it was taken out because they were mistaking it for a dating site.
Oh.
And so I'm delighted that they can do that, because I've been kind of going around it different ways. So that's really helpful. The guy that you mentioned, is it possible to post that in the chat, or where can we find that? Because I want to, or I can just Google it if you want. I want to post that for my students.
I'll do it right now. Sorry.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry. Here, I am pasting this in as I choke on my water. Pardon me. Yeah, that's that help guide. And again, my students, sometimes they don't use the forum. They don't use that big public forum. They'd rather reach out to one classmate that maybe they have in another class too. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Let's see. I'm checking the chat too. I see audio recorded. Yes. Okay, we got that. How are you able to text them? I'm sorry, Laura, I missed that question 6 minutes ago. I use Google Voice to text them. It is, it comes free with any Google Gmail account. And maybe I could demonstrate that sometime on how I use that. It's very handy. Annalisa says remind.com. Sure, totally. That's great. Can students see the home page from an iPhone in the Canvas app? They can see the home page, but that is not the first thing that pops up in the Canvas app. And it's a little confusing why it doesn't. Let's see. I do not ask them for their phone number. I use the phone numbers on the roster in PeopleSoft. Yeah, right next to their email. And that's the phone number that's listed for all of their Long Beach City College communications. Just how like we get the text messages. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. I lost track of my slideshow, didn't I? We're on this slide, student-to-student contact. And we just talked about the first element. Now, how do your student interactive activities maintain regular and effective contact? Well, again, I'm going to humbly refer to my course for this. In my modules, and this is a 16-week class, so I break it down into one module per week, so a weekly module. Every single week has a discussion forum in it. And every single discussion forum requires students to respond to at least one other student. Okay, so for example, kind of picking this one at random, I hope it's okay. Yeah, so I asked students to, and it's after they've gone through the lesson, so they know what I'm talking about by this point. Let's see. I asked them to write about some language norms in their society. I asked them to browse their classmates' posts and find a norm that you follow or disobey. Make a quick reply to their post on whether or not you follow the norm and why. So really just an explorative activity, but it gets them talking to one another. Another thing that I do, and for me this has been remarkably successful, is that I put my students into small groups. In a class of, let's say, 40 people. If my students have, 40 possibilities for who to respond to, I find one, it can be overwhelming. Who do I reply to? And two, they might not make genuine interactions. Let's say if they have a new discussion partner every single week for 16 weeks, right? So what I do is break them up, and I'm referring to this in a faculty training, so I don't show student names right now, but I break them up into smaller student groups. And I do that through people. I click on people. I click this button to make a group set. And then I'm just going to put example group. Great, I'll do that. And I will split students into, let's say, 10 groups. Great. And Canvas is going to do the rest of the work with me, or excuse me, for me, and make these 10 groups automatically. And it might take a minute, so I won't show the whole thing. But when I do that, then I can edit my discussion forums. And I can check this box. This is a group discussion. And so now, instead of all 40 of my students talking at the same time in the same place, I will have, let's say, only 10 students at a time responding to that and responding to each other. And I find the quality of responses and the relationships built in those smaller forums are better and more rich. So for me, that has worked very, very well. Karen, yes.
It's another point where you kind of read my mind,
Mhm.
because I was thinking about doing that, just wasn't sure how. So thank you again. That's brilliant. Do they stay in the same small groups throughout the semester?
Sometimes I switch it up, but you can certainly leave them in the same groups the entire semester. that is fine. You can set it so students can join a group of whichever one they want, and that's okay too. So yeah, go into that people area and play around. I mean, I can take, let's say I know, gosh, there's a lot of people in here. Let's say I need to switch it up. You just click and drag a student from one group to another. I mean, it's easy. You can mix this up, or you can go back and just create a brand new group set and shift those groups maybe halfway through the semester so they get different perspectives as well. Yeah, it's fun.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm rushing because we only have 8 minutes left and this is too much fun. But B6, participation levels. I really like to take the first week of my class to explain the expectations of my online courses. But in addition to that, having rubrics that explicitly state you must reply to a classmate with, a substantive reply. Don't just say I agree. Say more can be very, very helpful. So in my class, the first week is devoted to, 1, meeting me, learning a little bit about me, 2, learning a bit about each other, and then of course, learning how to be successful in this class. So for example, one of my content pages in this first week, I explained to them very explicitly, look, this is a 3-unit course. It's 54 hours of instructional time. I do the math. That comes down to about 3 hours of schoolwork per week over 16 weeks, right? Not including reading your textbook. I let them know, look, you got to reach at least 300 words in your assignments. For discussion forums, you must create your own post and reply to a classmate's post. So making these things really explicit from the beginning of the course, even by clicking next and advancing. This is my first discussion forum of the class. All they have to do is introduce themselves and reply to a classmate. And in the first few, I always put my own response here so that they have a model of how they might structure their own responses to the forum. And I find, look, when I do it first, when I post an example, then a lot of them, they will just follow suit and borrow my formatting. So, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So that would be in alignment with the guidelines of expected student participation from those week-to-week interactions with peers. So look at that, look at us. As we did last time with section A, I want you to reflect on section B and consider what aspects of it can have the most immediate impact on student learning in your course right now. My suggestion, if I may be so bold, is with a communication plan. Now, I had initially thought of this as an activity, but as often happens in these types of workshops, we have run out of time. So maybe this is something you can just self-inquire. How is your communication plan, and how easy is it for students to find that communication plan? Do you provide multiple avenues for them to contact you? Right? And do you tell your students how you will communicate with them? Okay, I will send you announcements every week. I will email you or text you if you stop participating, right? Making those things clear and explicit for me has improved the quality and quantity of student communications. But with that being said, we are at 1:56. I am going to stop the recording and take a few questions before we all need to go. So let's see. I don't want to end the meeting. That would not be good. I will Stop the share. Sorry, I have full screen, so it's looking a little different to me. There we go.